I don't like Etsy. Oh no, this is opening a can of worms. Ooh. My god, I talk so much. Hey guys, welcome back to the Fauna Rose YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Megan and I am the owner of Fauna Rose, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a Q&A. I don't know if it's going to be a weekly upload or if it's going to be a bonus video. I'm not too sure yet, but the chances are it's going to be a very long one, knowing me. So grab yourself a beverage, a hot drink, cold drink, a snack, whatever, while I answer some of your questions. But firstly, if you are new here, like I said, my name is Megan. I own Fauna Rose and I make and sell scrunchies, macrame, decor, accessories and a whole bunch of other goodies like that. And if you want to check out my website or other social media, it is all linked down below. I did ask on a couple of different platforms for some questions the other day and I've not looked at all of them, if I'm being completely honest. I've not been prepared and put them all in sort of order, so I'm just gonna open whatever app first and just read them, and if none of this is in order or makes any sense, I do apologise. So let's head over to YouTube and see what questions we've got. So what made you open a website straight away instead of trying the likes of Etsy first? Funnily enough, I was on a treadmill this morning. I was watching Millie's video, Prince by Millie here on YouTube, an incredible small business owner, and she did a video recently where it was sort of Etsy versus Shopify, or the differences between the two, and it's a really good in-depth video, so if you want to go and check that out, I'll leave it linked down below. Personally, I'm probably going to end up with a court case here, aren't I, because Etsy likes to do things like that. I don't like Etsy and I have a lot of strong opinions about Etsy. However, I am not ignorant to the fact that it is a great platform for a lot of people. It works very well for a lot of people. Not for me. I do not like it. I've had nothing but negative experiences with the platform. I've heard nothing but horror stories. So I've had 2 shops now on Etsy years and years ago, and then I actually tried. I was going to do a video on it, but because again it just went, I didn't end up carrying on filming that. But I did recently open a Fauna Rose Etsy as well. If you don't know, Etsy take a lot of fees. So they charge you to list an item. That item is then on a time scale, so if it doesn't sell or it sells out, you then have to repay to relist it. They take a percentage of your sale. They take a percentage of your shipping. So say you only charge what the shipping company charges, you're already technically out of pocket on your shipping supplies, so you kind of have to factor that in anyway to the cost of your items, but that's a different ball game. But they take a percentage of that as well. They take other percentages for different things that I didn't realize was a thing. I learned that after watching Millie's video. So they are quite an expensive platform to sell on anyway. The whole point of Etsy was for creators, makers, artists, small businesses and things like that, and they do nothing but punish small businesses really, and it's getting more and more oversaturated with people just selling things they bulk bought from China and not made. There are a huge amount of people on there selling other people's artwork without permission. I tried to close my first shop years and years ago because I just didn't want to be on that platform anymore. They wouldn't let me close it unless I paid to close it. They tried to charge me to close my shop. They like to hold people's money. I've spoken to a lot of other small businesses. One in particular has had thousands of pounds sat there for years that Etsy will not give them, and they have not given them a reason why. And this is quite common. They put holds on people's accounts. They have a right to shut down your shop just because. I don't know, it's just not a platform for me, in all honesty. However, that is not me saying do not use Etsy, because it is brilliant for so many people and it works for so many people. My morals, I'm like, nah, I'm good. If you're going to claim to be a platform to help small businesses but then do nothing but punish them, I'm good. So when it came to launching this business, I did not want to use Etsy. But after speaking with some friends who use Etsy and really enjoy it, really like it, they were like, give it a go, what are you going to lose? So I listed 1 or 2 things just as like a tester, and I was in the process of filming it. I got 1 sale, and instantly they blocked my account, they put holds on my funds, and I still haven't had that money, and this was months ago. I've just given up. This is why I couldn't be bothered with it in the first place. There's a lot of videos out there about Etsy. Do your research first. It might end up being incredible for you. And I have used another e-commerce marketplace sort of thing. I used New Monday with my last shop for years. It only cost me about £5 a month. It was a really decent little platform actually. I could list as many items as I wanted without getting charged for it, without those things running out, without them taking a load of fees, things like that. So when it came to Fauna Rose, I wanted my own 100% professional looking website. I wanted the freedom to do whatever I wanted with it. I wanted to be able to design it. And I'm not saying if you're on Etsy you're not professional. I just wanted my own professional website, my own space on the internet. That was a really long answer, hence why this video is probably going to be very long. What are the dream plans for the future of Fauna Rose? Not a clue. If I'm being honest, I have a lot of goals for this business, but I'm also just taking it day by day. I'm not winging it, but I kind of am. I would love this to be my career. My dream is to be a small business owner. It'd be a successful one where I can be able to pay my mortgage, my bills, my everything, in the sense of it be then my main job. But that's like the shallow aspirations, I guess. But my dreams are to be able to be my own boss, be creative, just keep it growing. That's always going to be the aim. Just be happy, be creative, make things I want to sell, connect with customers all over the world, things like that, which I know sounds really cheesy, but they're the sort of main two goals. One, keep it being a successful business, and number two, keep enjoying it, be happy, be creative, and have that freedom to be my own boss. So next one, how long have you been doing Fauna Rose? Only a few months. I actually launched this in October of 2022, so I haven't been doing it for too long. What made you start? I've always wanted to be my own boss. I've always wanted to own a small business. I've always wanted to create things because I'm a very creative person, and I have had small businesses in the past, and I wanted to create Fauna Rose because it was very different to what I used to make, but it had more potential for a wider range of audience slash customers, I guess, because kind of anyone can really use my stuff regardless of your style. So I wanted to create a business where, again, I had the freedom to create items that I really liked, but it also be suitable for a wide range of people. Does that make any sense? Where are you originally from? I'm originally from Manchester. Spent years of my life in Liverpool, and since then I've moved around quite a lot. My other half is military, so moving's gonna be happening quite a lot. We're currently based in Lincolnshire, and we have been for a few months. We probably will be doing a lot of moving in our life. So next one, what is your favourite tattoo? So you can't currently see them, but I do have quite a lot of tattoos. I'm sort of showing them off. I love tattoos. I wish I had more, but they take time, money, all of that, so I don't really know what my favourite one is, in all honesty. I've got a little sphinx here that I think is really, really cute, but I think my flowers, in all honesty, because it is my biggest one. The artist who did this is incredible. She's called Charlotte. She's based in Norwich. I will leave her information down below. Very, very talented. She also did this one here. So I think because it is my biggest piece, I really, really like it. But I also have some Elvish on my leg, which is from Lord of the Rings. It says, "Not all those who wander are lost," which is from a poem that is in the book. I do like Lord of the Rings, little bit of a fan. I'd probably say those two are probably my favourite. Where is the best place you have lived so far? Ooh, that's a tough one because I've loved living in each different place apart from the military house. I hated living there, but it was close to Stamford and I love Stamford, so I don't think I have a favourite. I think I have favourite reasons for living in each place, but I don't think I have a favourite. So I'm not a big fan of where I grew up. I would never move back there, but my family are there, so do you know what I mean? I really like Lincolnshire. I loved living in Norfolk because Norfolk's beautiful. It's a very beautiful place and we met so many incredible people there. I don't know. I don't think I have a favourite place. Hi from Australia. I am opening an online store soon. T-shirts promoting women's empowerment, and so far my Facebook and Insta accounts have approximately 0 followers. How did you begin to grow your audience? I'm not the best person to ask this because social media growth is one of the hardest things to come across. It's kind of pot luck. All these different tips, tricks, hacks, how to go viral. You can try them all, doesn't mean they're going to work. There is kind of no knack to it. You just have to hope something's going to go viral and hope that from that people are going to follow you. I managed to grow my audience. I still don't have a big audience in the slightest, by trying to be as consistent as possible. My own personal Instagram, I do have quite a lot of followers on there, but that account has been shadow banned for for like 6 years. Trying to grow that account has been nearly impossible, but because I already had a lot of people that followed me on there, a lot of people then came and supported me from there. I had an old shop which had a good following, so people followed me from there. I had a personal YouTube. I've kind of dabbled in a lot of things, so I already had tiny small audiences who were really kind and came and supported me. My Danny XL scrunchie is named after someone called Danny, and I've never met her in person, but she is incredible. I sort of met her through Instagram. She's the nicest, most supportive person I've ever met. Anything I've ever done, she has been there and supported me. She's been one of the first people to follow, to like, to share. I've never asked her to do anything ever, and she's always just been incredibly supportive. I love her, she's great, and I'm so grateful to have had her support, which is why I wanted to call that scrunchie after her. But Danny does have a large following on social media, so every time she shared something, that has helped me, and I'm so grateful for that. But she's not the only person that shares, so when someone else shares, somebody else might see it and they might follow, so things like that does help. But also I'm very, very lucky to have a very big, very supportive family, as well as Alex's supportive family. So they all shared, bought from me and things like that, so I'm quite lucky in a sense to have already had a small bunch of people supporting me, and it's kind of just gone from there. I would say the stuff that you put up there, the saying of everything is content, is very true. Doesn't mean it's always good content. I know a lot of people who just constantly post reel after reel after reel after reel after reel. Unfortunately, the sort of quality of that content isn't the best, so that's not getting pushed out. A lot of the stuff I put out there isn't that great, but creating good quality content and trying to be consistent with it always helps, because the last thing you want is someone to open your social media pages and it not look that great, not look aesthetically pleasing. Us humans, we are like magpies. We do like pretty shiny things that look really nice, so you need to try and get your social media pages to match that and to be very transparent as to who you are, what you're selling, but at the same time it look professional, have high quality images and things like that. I have no idea if I've just answered that question or just sidetracked. And also, it's a ball ache, but being on as many platforms as you can massively helps. My YouTube channel, not gonna lie, it's a lot of effort. Editing takes me a very long time, but thanks to YouTube and thanks to you incredible people, I've had quite a lot of sales and a lot of support from the YouTube community. TikTok is probably my least interactive platform, but then it's some people's most incredible platform, so I try and be on as many platforms as possible without completely overwhelming myself. I recycle my content, so any reel, for example on Instagram, gets recycled, so that reel will also then get posted as a YouTube short. It will then go on TikTok, it will then go on a Facebook reel, because I don't have the time to make content for every single one of them. So that's the only advice I can really give. Ask people you know for support, ask them to follow, share, try and be consistent, try and make professional-ish content. I don't know if that's going to be any of use to you, but that's all I can really suggest, I'm afraid. So next one, how do you decide what to make and sell? I'm the sort of person that has all the ideas consistently bouncing around, which then leads me to not doing any advice. Thank you. PS, loving the vlogs. Thank you, Sue. That's a hard one because I have ADHD. That might come up a few times in this video. So I am non-stop, I'm constant, this never rests ever. It is an excruciating thing to deal with, and that is something I've struggled with for years, is just honing your skills, not getting carried away, sort of containing that dopamine thrill seeking thing where I just want to buy everything and make everything. I have made a lot of stuff over the years and got very invested into crafts, done it for like an hour, then got bored, and then I've just had mountains of the stuff for that craft sat there for years. Again, I'm not the best person to ask this, but I found things that made me happy, that weren't too difficult, but were difficult enough that gave me that sense of achievement, and I've tried to keep it as on brand as possible, if that makes sense. So I tend to get very frustrated if I don't pick things up right away. So if I start a new hobby or craft and it's instantly difficult, I get really frustrated and it takes me a lot to like get through it. I'm gonna get bored, I'm not gonna want to do it, I'm just gonna get annoyed. So I found things that I picked up very easy, that don't take too much painful brain power, but are a skill in itself. They keep my hands busy and things like that. Because I've had small businesses in the past, I am a startup business, but I'm not a startup startup business owner in the sense that I've learned a lot of things in the past. I've learned from mistakes. I've done a lot of things already, and that I've brought over into this business. And because I'm dealing with the consequences of my mistakes in the past still now, that has made me really knuckle down and think, right, keep yourself grounded. You can't get carried away and things like that. So for example, like I said, I had so many hobbies. I still have so many hobbies. Because I then got really invested, bought everything for it, I then end up with a house that's completely cluttered with a load of crap that never gets used. And when you move twice in 2 months, you are then moving that stuff from house to house, and it is painful, it is stressful. So I think because I've had experiences like that, it takes a lot of self-control. But I am trying hard to keep it very grounded and not get carried away, not buy every print on the planet. And you do have to think of it from a business side of things. If you get carried away and do way too much, you are spending a lot of money and you are going to be making no money. So again, don't know if I answered that question. Who or what inspired you to create your own business? Myself. No, just kidding. I think a mix of things. My mum is my biggest inspiration. She's absolutely incredible. She owned her own business and she's always worked her ass off and worked really hard. I look up to that on so many different things. What inspired me to create a business though was, I would say, mostly how I work. My brain chemistry is majorly impacted by my environment and what is going on around me, and I have had a lot of jobs, a lot of jobs. I've moved a lot, hence why I've had a lot of jobs, never been fired, thank God. And I do not work well in a work environment in the slightest. Sort of corporate jobs, not for me. I struggle massively. The only place I thrive is working for myself, being left alone to do my own thing. It's the only place I'll ever thrive, and it's took years and years for me to learn that, which is hard because obviously you need a job for money, and yeah, so it's a little bit awkward. But what really inspired me to know that I wanted to do this was the difference in my mental health. So when I'm at a normal job, I struggle so much. I'm constantly overstimulated. I take everything to heart. I just don't cope well. I get physically and mentally poorly all the time. Yet when I'm working for myself, I have the freedom to do whatever the hell that I want. If my ADHD wants me to do all these different tasks, I can. If my ADHD wants me to do nothing, I can. So I would say, yeah, myself, I kind of inspired that in the sense of I knew I had to look after myself, and this is where I thrive. This is what I wanted to do. I've always been creative and I've wanted to be my own boss. I don't want some absolute billionaire telling me that I'm only entitled to a 15-minute break after being yelled at by 400 customers for doing customer service for the last 8 hours. Yeah, not for me. But my mum in life is my biggest inspiration. Next one, why the name Fauna Rose? Good question. I get asked this a lot. A lot of people think my name is Fauna Rose. It's not. I just like the name. That's the only reason I can really give. When I came to planning out and creating this business, I wanted it to have like an earthy, boho-y but wild vibe to it, especially because I wanted this to be really eco-friendly and things like that. And I was just looking at different things, different words, and I kept coming back to fauna. So I'll read the dictionary definition of the word fauna. So fauna is the animals of a particular region, habitat or geological period. I wanted it to be quite nature-based, and I just really liked the name fauna. I thought it was beautiful, and I like the fact that it has like animal meaning behind it, which sounds weird. And then I didn't want it to just be fauna, I wanted it to be 2 words, and no matter what I tried with it, it wasn't working. And I really liked the idea of Fauna Rose because you've got animals, earthy stuff, and then plants. So yeah, I was like, Fauna Rose, really like it. But it does sound like a person's name. It's copyrighted, don't steal it. I'm just kidding. Sorry, there isn't a cooler meaning behind it. And next one. How long have you lived in Lincolnshire, and did you ever plan to have your own business? Sort of answered that. We moved the 2nd week of November of 2022. We bought this house and we signed and got the keys on our favourite day of the year, Halloween. We did live at Wittering, which is a military base, for 2 months, and I think that's sort of borderline Lincolnshire, Peterborough, and we moved there in September, so we haven't actually lived here that long. And did you ever plan to have your own business? Yes, I've always liked making stuff and selling it. Not always for a profit, but I just like making stuff and giving it to people and being like, I made you this. While I was at university, I used to make cheerleading bows. I briefly mentioned this in a video, and I'm pretty sure someone commented like, wait, you were a cheerleader? I was for many years. I was a cheerleader. I was a coach as well, which you wouldn't have thought I was a cheerleading captain as well. I made and sold hair cheerleading bows. Yeah, I think that was like my first taste of small business owner, and it was great. I loved it, and I was like, yeah, this is something I'm always going to do. It just took me a while to find what worked for me, I think. Hi there, do you have any advice that isn't necessarily small business related? Life advice? I don't really know. Just advice in general. I'm not the best person to speak to about advice, but I do have a bit of advice actually that's just come to my head. Somewhat related to a small business, but also not. If you want to start a small business, I'm 100% like ready to support you. I'm like, do it, go for it. However, if I'm being realistic, as an adult, which makes me sad, someone who has a mortgage and things like that, if you are going to start up a small business, if you are in the position to just go, screw it, I don't want a job, I'm just gonna start a small business, then amazing. Great, go for it. However, my piece of advice would be, if you can do it alongside a job, then do it. Which I know I'm a big hypocrite for saying that, but one of the things again that I have learned, banks, people that give you loans, mortgage companies want you to be employed. So difference between employed, self-employed. Employed, you work for a company, they employ you. Self-employed, you employ yourself. Kind of self-explanatory, but there is a lot to it that people don't realize, and unfortunately if you are self-employed, even if you are earning a lot of money, banks, loan companies, things like that do not see that as a good investment. They don't see you as a good investment because self-employed income is not a reliable source of income. For example, when it came to us buying this house, I had self-employed income and employed income, and even though my self-employed income might have been higher than my employed income, our advisor was like, nah, we're just not even going to bother with that, we'll just do your employed income. It's just the case. I've spoken to YouTubers in the past who have a lot of money and get a lot of money from YouTube and brand deals and things, and they really struggle to get a mortgage. So if you can do that, if you are lucky enough to find a little part-time job where you can do that alongside a small business, I would recommend that, just for adult things. You can still get a mortgage, you can still get loans, you can still get cars on finances and things like that if you are self-employed. It is just very hard to do so. Next one, I'm sure you don't have time to fit anything else in, but do you have any other hobbies? Too many. Again, I'm always looking for a quick bit of dopamine. I was going to say roller skating. I love roller skating, but we've not done it in about a year because we've just not had the time. I love to read, I love to be active, so I was a gymnast and a gymnastics coach for years. I love swimming. I have so many hobbies. Making stuff. I like being creative, I like making stuff, I like being out and going for walks, I like being out in nature, things like that. Which one of your creations is your favourite? Ooh, that's a tough one. I love the Stella scrunchie. I think this pattern is beautiful. I only have minis left in stock, I'm afraid, but this is the fabric. I love it. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and it is named after my mum. Oh, this is one of the ones where on one side it's like mostly blues and pinks, and the other side it's like pinks and greens. I like my macrame lanyards as well, possibly this, but also one of the new autumn scrunchies. I can't choose, I'm afraid. What's your favourite colour? Is it really depressing to say black? I know it's not technically a colour. If I could paint this whole house from head to toe in black, I would. Black's just my comfort zone. However, if I had to choose colour, it would be sage green, earthy green. Love it. Oh no, this is opening a can of worms. Why did you shut down your previous small business and opened a new one? How much time do you have? Long story short, the Instagram is still up there if you want to have a nosy. I owned a small business called Alien Queen Crafts, and I absolutely adored that business. That was my baby, it was my life. I was able to leave employment to work on that. I loved it so much. I basically created gothic home decor, but unfortunately people exist. Mostly around COVID time, when small businesses were popping up left, right and centre, which was an amazing, great thing, but at the same time it was also exceptionally damaging to the small business community as well, in the sense of there was a lot of copycats popping up. There was a lot of people after a quick buck, people not realising what it actually takes to be a small business owner, who just saw other people doing it and doing it well and thinking, I'm just going to take that and do it as well, to the point where I was fighting the constant new small businesses popping up, copying and pasting everything I was doing, and there was more people doing that than there were buying. Eventually I had to admit defeat. I had to be smart about it, and as much as it broke my heart, I was going to do a video on my personal channel about it, but when I was filming it I couldn't stop crying. I thought I was ready to talk about it and I wasn't, but a lot of time has now passed and I'm like, I'm over it now. It's still such a shame, but it was constantly, multiple times a day, every single day, people were sending me photos saying, I thought this was you, and they were just identical versions of my photos, literally copying and pasting descriptions that I'd written. And it wasn't just one person, it was a disgusting amount of people. One of them lived up the road from me, multiple of them were customers of mine, and then they were literally copying and pasting my entire business, and it was just painful. I was like, are you so unable to even write a description of a photo that you have to copy and paste it word for word? But then at the same time, karma, people don't realize what it takes to run a small business. And because obviously I then stopped making stuff and stopped posting and everything, they had no one then to copy off, so all these businesses started then closing down. I was like, well, it's not your ideas, it's not your photos, it's not your descriptions, you are not going to be able to survive just pinching from other people. It doesn't work like that. A few of them are still going, and again, like I said, because I'm no longer making these things, they're now copying from other small businesses, and it's so obvious, it's so painful to witness. That is unfortunately why these people were reaching out to my promoters. It got silly, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So I had to make the smart business decision and yeah, close it down. I say close it down, the Instagram is still there, and I still have a bunch of the stuff that I do need to get rid of. Next one, was it scary taking the plunge into committing to a small business? Honestly, no. There's a lot of scary moments to it. I remember launch day and I was like, it's nerve-wracking, you're putting something new out there. But I think, again, because I'd already had a small business and I'd been through hell with that small business, like I said, I was fighting to keep this business going when in reality it wasn't working. I think because I had already failed as a small business owner, and there's no harm in saying that, this is a learning curve, it's a learning opportunity. One of my really good small business friends, she's got a really good successful alternative business and she's smashing it. She said to me, she was like, mate, I've had loads of small businesses that just flopped before I had this one. So I think because I'd already had experience and things, I wasn't as scared as someone who's taken the plunge the first time, I guess. I do have a really good group of small business friends who I absolutely love. They're amazing people. I would never have been able to get through half the stuff that I've gone through as a small business without them. What are your scrunchies like in different hair types? My hair is short and thin. Ooh, good question. So my hair, I've got a lot of it, but it is very, very thin. Yet the scrunchies hold my hair super well. Obviously, if you have really short hair, it might not fit, but I've had a lot of customers with different hair types, thick, thin, short, long, and so far, fingers crossed, it stays that way. I've had nothing but good feedback in the sense of the quality of the elastic and the stretch of them. I spent ages finding the right elastic that I was happy with. I don't know if that answers your question. The last question, what are the best things I would need to buy for my small business? Ooh, that's a tough one because it depends what your small business is. It depends what you're selling. It depends if you're online, if you sell physical items. But the things that have helped me, or that I would always recommend, is, I don't know if you can see it there, my mum bin. This is a thermal printer, and this has been one of the best things I've ever bought. I use it to print off shipping labels. I make a lot of my packaging stickers with it. I print off all my price tags with it because I don't currently have a printer. I print as much things as I can off using that little thing. The labels aren't too expensive either. You can get different sizes and you don't have to buy any ink because it's thermal. Honestly, it's one of the best things I've ever bought. It's so worth it. If you're selling products online, I'd recommend getting one of these. This is a Royal Mail size guide. Obviously, if you don't send via Royal Mail, this won't come in handy to you, but most of my parcels will go with Royal Mail. So obviously that little slot is for like little thin envelopes, but this is the main slot I need. But this lets me know that my parcels will fit through as a large letter, because the difference in parcel price between a large letter and a small parcel is quite a lot. So a lot of my orders will go through this, which means I can try and keep my shipping as low as possible. And finally, I would say Canva. I am currently using the free trial for the Pro, and it is really good. I've mostly used the free tool for a very long time, and Canva is an incredible tool. It's great for editing photos, it's great for making my thumbnails. I love it. I think it's a great tool. It takes like a couple minutes to like play around with and get used to, but it's also very basic and very easy to use. I created all my business cards on there, my little thank you cards, my big banner that I take to events. I made these, which have just arrived for our Creative Makers Market. Everything that I make signage wise I will make on Canva now. It's just a really great tool. There's probably a million other things that I would recommend for a small business. Oh, shipping scales. Get yourself some shipping scales. I've got the Mumbin ones as well because you can weigh all your parcels at home. There's probably loads of things. But I've been talking now for about 2 hours, so this is going to be great to edit. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it gave you a little bit of insight into me and the business. If you do have any more questions, please leave them down below. As always, I want to say thank you so much for your support. It means so much. I would not be able to do this. I would not be able to be self-employed. I would not be able to be my own boss if I didn't have the support of strangers on the internet who become customers, who become internet friends. I'm honestly so grateful for every single one of you. It literally, as cheesy as it sounds, it means so much. So thank you so much for watching. Please give it a massive thumbs up, leave me a comment down below and subscribe if you aren't. All of Fauna Rose's social media and the website is linked down below, so feel free to head on over there, check it out and support me. But apart from that, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye! My god, I talk so much.